Hello, hello, Dr. John Jaco Guderson here, the singing psychiatrist. Hello, hello, Dr. John Jaco Guderson here, the singing psychiatrist. Doctor, my eyes have seen the years. Yep, my eyes, your eyes, all our eyes have seen an awful lot. So let's take a look at this list of people. Ernest Hemingway, Demi Lovato, Mel Gibson, Mariah Carey, Kurt Cobain, Edgar Allan Poe, Virginia Woolf, the poet Robert Lowell, Vincent van Gogh, Robin Williams. What do all these people have in common? They all have suffered from bipolar disorder, what we call manic depression. Now, a lot of people will say, Doctor, I have manic depression because I have all these mood swings. And just last Sunday, my mood went up and down and up and down. I have bipolar, but that's not what bipolar is. No. Bipolar is two poles, the high pole, the hyperactive pole, the manic pole, and the low pole, when you're in the pit, the depressed pole. To have bipolar, you have to have had at least one manic episode in your life. First of all, it doesn't just happen on a Sunday. It has to last for about a week. During that week, you have less need for sleep and yet lots and lots of energy. You can go out on all sorts of spending sprees and spend money on stupid stuff. You can become quite sexually promiscuous, super involved in projects, hyper-verbal, and then you can get involved with dangerous behaviors like drugs, alcohol, driving fast. You can become grandiose, think you're on top of the world, standing up on a tall building, or having paranoid delusions. It is an intense illness when it is a true blue manic, frank manic set of symptoms. There's also a softer mania called hypomania, which is not as severe, but a type of mania nonetheless. The beautiful thing about being manic is that it can be a splurge of explosion of creativity, as we saw with all those people that we named. These people can be very functioning as long as they're in the right kind of treatment at the same time. But there can be dangers, certainly. If you start spending all the money and breaking the bank account, you can ruin your marriage through promiscuity. And of course, you can put yourself in danger with drugs, alcohol, and driving fast. Another symptom of mania is lack of insight. The person doesn't realize that they are manic. They feel on top of the world. Try to tell somebody who's manic that they're acting manic, and they say, no, I'm not. I feel great. I'm doing all these things. Don't bother me. Then there's the other side, because you can't be manic forever. And the other side is the pit, the doldrums, the depressed side. And these people with bipolar, they also indeed do become depressed. In fact, I've seen the most intense depressions with people who have bipolar. They become immobile. They become tortured. Their brain goes into a different realm and they feel like there's utterly no hope whatsoever. Intense depression. In the worst of cases, they genuinely feel that the world would be better off without them. And then they become suicidal. So what to do? Well, I'm not a big medication guy in general, but I have learned over time that medication can make a world of difference for these people. The gold standard is lithium. Now, lithium has been wonderful with all of those target symptoms that I named, including having more insight. They understand more what's going on. Of course, with lithium, you need to monitor levels. You need to watch the kidneys and the thyroid and electrolytes as well. That helps with bipolar. It doesn't always help exactly with the depressed side, although it can. So sometimes an antidepressant such as Prozac or Zoloft is needed as well. But one has to be careful. If you know somebody who's in the midst of a bipolar illness, who has had bipolar, the likelihood that they're going to have it again is quite strong. If there's somebody in the family who has had that, there is what we believe to be a genetic basis as well. In fact, I've hardly met anybody who has a bipolar episode, a manic depressive episode, who didn't have somebody else in the family with similar. So what to do when you have a close friend, a loved one, who you can see they're going into a manic phase or to a deep, dark, depressed phase? You have to do everything you can to connect with them, to find out what they are interested in doing. It's hard to convince somebody, especially when they're manic, that they are manic. So you need to find some hook, something to connect with them in order to help them. Somebody who has bipolar, they absolutely need treatment. This can be an emergency. It could be life-threatening. So you need to get them to a physician, a competent physician, usually a psychiatrist. You need to get them to an emergency room because they can do devastating things to ruin their lives and ruin the lives of others. Now, there is one more thing I want to say here, and that's, as you probably know, I talk a lot about positive psychology and being in touch with our soul as the route to better mental and emotional health. But that, unfortunately, is probably not enough for somebody who has a significant bipolar illness. You have to look at bipolar like somebody who has diabetes. They need correct treatment. You can talk and talk and talk to them all about breaking out of it, out of being more positive, about being other-oriented, about being in touch with one's soul, but it won't work with somebody with a severe bipolar illness. Correct treatment is absolutely necessary. It is a medical condition. People don't just snap out of it. Now, as they get better, when they do come out of it, then certainly to put them in touch with their soul, to have energy, a more positive outlook, to be other-oriented is crucial for all of us for good mental and emotional health. So if you know of somebody who has manic depression, or you suspect that they're in the midst of a significant manic episode or a depressed episode, reach out because you can save their life. Doctor, my eyes have seen the years in the slow parade of fears without crying. Now I want to understand. I have done all that I could to see the evil and the good without hiding. You must help me if you can.